More strong reaction from across spring training yesterday, especially from Nick Markakis and Aaron Judge.
I was pretty mad, pretty upset. To know that we were probably, cheated out of a possibility of, making it to the World Series. That's tough to kind of, let go. Wasn't a fan of the punishment. I thought that was a little weak for, a player-driven scheme, that no players involved got any punishments.
Do you think the Astros should be stripped of their 2017 championship?
I just don't think it holds any value. You cheated and you didn't earn it. That's how I feel. Is it wasn't earned.
I feel like every single guy over there needs a beating. It's wrong. They're messing with people's careers. I think the commissioner completely handled it the wrong way. But I know a lot of people disagree with him, and the way he handled the situation, he should be embarrassed of himself.
Well, LeBron James weighed in on this on Twitter yesterday. He tweeted, "Listen, I know I don't play baseball, but I'm in sports, and I know if someone cheated me out of winning the title and I found out about it, I would be bleeping irate. I mean, like uncontrollable about what I would or could do. Listen here, baseball commissioner. Listen to your players speaking today about how disgusted, mad, hurt, broken, etc. about this. Literally, the ball is in your court, or should I say field, and you need to fix this for the sake of sports." So with all of that as the backdrop, Commissioner Rob Manfred once again met with the media late yesterday in Arizona and had a lot to say, starting by apologizing for calling the World Series trophy a piece of metal.
I referred to the World Series trophy in a disrespectful way, and I want to apologize for that. There's no excuse for it. Very concerned about opening the door to altering results that took place on the field. There are a lot of things that have happened in the history of the game that arguably could be corrected, and I just think it's an impossible task for an institution to undertake.
Now, here's just one person's opinion, and I will grant that it may be unpopular, but I listened to every word that Rob Manfred said yesterday, and I thought most of it made a lot of sense. So with that, I want to bring Jeff Passan in, who's in Port St. Lucie this morning, and we just heard Manfred. Clearly, he is under perhaps unprecedented criticism from across his own sport and beyond. What can he do to start to try to fix this right now?
That's the question, Greeny, that I've been asking people across baseball over the last week or so as pressure has really ramped up on Rob Manfred. And they come up with three different decisions. Number one, you go after Jim Crane, the owner of the Houston Astros, and whether it's a suspension, a bigger fine. I don't see that happening, though, because Rob Manfred's 30 bosses are the owners, and they don't want to open themselves up to potential violations in the future that could come back on them. Number two, Rob Manfred falls on the sword. Not yet. Not happening. And that brings us to number three, which is stripping the Astros of the title. This seems to be the most popular play potentially, because if he cannot go and discipline the players for what happened, at very least he can take away something from them with regards to the title that they still hold so dear and still want to say is not invalidated by their actions.
So how would that work? And I will mention that Tony Clark, the Players Association president, is meeting with the Mets players as we speak right now. But the union obviously will have a say in whatever happens from this point forward. Manfred was very clear on that yesterday. If they did decide they wanted to revisit the notion of stripping the Astros of the 2017 championship, what would that even look like?
I think it would look like Rob Manfred coming out and having to say, hey, given what has happened, given the reaction throughout the sport, which is far greater than I think anyone, even inside of baseball, anticipated, I want to make things right. I want to put baseball back on the proper path. And to do so, we have to look at 2017 through a different lens. And that lens is that this championship is no longer valid. Now, is that an easy thing to do? Does it look like a flip-flop? Of course it does. But desperate times, Greeny, call for desperate measures. And these are desperate times for Major League Baseball right now. So that is under consideration at this point. And how about the Astros piece of this, Jeff? They have become sort of enemy number one, not only amongst the public, but amongst their colleagues, amongst the players on other teams. How should the Astros be handling this going forward? Better than they have. And there's not a whole lot they can do at this point. You know, they are wearing it from all corners of baseball right now. And the most surprising part of this whole thing, Greeny, has been the overwhelming response of the players. Baseball players don't speak up. Baseball players don't speak out. We've heard from Mike Trout. We've heard from Aaron Judge. These are guys who have made their careers of saying nothing, not just controversial, but even opinionated. And to see everybody, or almost everybody, JD Martinez was on the side of the Astros saying, hey, enough's enough. But the vast majority of players who have spoken out publicly have done so against their Major League Baseball Players Association brethren, and it's just something that's so foreign to baseball, it's still a little difficult to process.
I agree. All right, Jeff, you've done terrific work with this, and we will keep you close by. We'll check in with you as the morning and as the week continues. Thank you. Meanwhile, I want to remind everybody that First Take follows us every single morning here on ESPN. They're 9 minutes away. Stephen A. has not fully jumped on the Laker bandwagon this year. In adding a supporting piece last night, does Stephen A. now think Kawhi and the Clippers will win the championship? He will tell you off the top of the next hour. It's First Take right after us on Get Up.